Hello, everyone, and welcome for a super fun class today with UV resin. We are going to be making some fun charms with UV resin, with beads, with some existing charms. We're going to put it all together in a charm necklace for you and teach you all the tips and tricks along the way. My name is Stephanie Menor, and I'm here representing Blue Moon Studio. Let's get started. So let's switch to the top-down camera and take a look at some of the charms that we are going to be creating today. So there are very simple charms here where we've just taken a bead and put it on a head pin and turned that into a charm. Then there are some things on here where we have created the charm ourselves, like this little butterfly and this little heart. So that's kind of like step two, is creating your own charm. And of course, when you're creating your own charm, the customization options are completely available to you for the color, the add-ins, whether you want glitter or not. And then we have some very special charms that require some assembly. So one that I'll point out is this like little bubblegum machine charm that we make from two different pieces that we create in a mold and put them together. And these little cherry charms, same thing, we'll make these separate and then put it all together with some little green leaves. And one more on here. This is like an ice cream cone, which you can customize these colors and put them together. So let's get started. If you are new to jewelry making, awesome, welcome. This is a great class for you. If you're new to resin, then this is a great class for you too. So let me move this out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about supplies. We are going to be using chains. We've got some chunky gold chain here. And Michaels has a ton of these chains available. This is what they look like in store. This is called a Rolo chain. This is like a paper clip chain. And this is a chunky curb chain. And so each chain link has its own unique name. This is called a curb because all of these things just sit flat with each other. This is a paper clip because it looks like paper clips put together. This is a Rolo chain because it has round links that interlock like this. And so we are going to create our own charm necklace from them. I have some existing charms that we're going to sprinkle in. And if you haven't been to Michael's lately, they have revamped their charm section and they are so cute. If you can get out to a store, take a look. I just picked up these cute little fruit charms. And then, of course, to add a little bit of movement, we have some tassels. We have a bunch of different glitters and add-ins, and we're going to be adding all kinds of fun stuff into our resin. And we will need some silicone cups to be able to do some mixing. We will need some wood sticks to do that as well. And we need, of course, the star of the show, which is a bottle of UV resin. So almost everything that we're using, I think everything is available in the jewelry making department at Michaels and on michaels.com. So this is the 60 milliliter bottle of UV resin. You'll see me using a larger bottle too. So that is something you definitely need for all of this. And because it is UV resin, meaning it is activated in UV light only, you need a UV light. And that's what this little thing is. You have to turn up the button on and those lights come on and you can turn it off as well. This runs on a 1-minute timer. And of course we need some molds. So all the charms that we're making today are going to come out of these molds. So lots of different molds available at Michael's for charm making, for pendants, for keychains. But we are going to be using these ones. These are on the smaller side since we're making small little charms. So we'll show you all the different ways that we're going to use silicone molds. So I think that's just about it. Let's get started crafting. So let's just do some basics here with this silicone mold. And this is an earring mold. And you can see that there's a lot of different combinations that you can make earrings. You can make bar earrings and put little kind of toppers up at the top. You can make teardrop earrings, hoop earrings out of this. So this is a great starter mold for you. We are going to be using these toppers, and that is going to become our cherries on our cherry charm that we're going to use later. And I am going to use this little hollow heart. So we need to mix up some color. So this is a silicone mixing bowl. And in fact, this blue thing that you're looking at is a silicone mat. So lots of silicone stuff here. And that is because cured resin does not stick to silicone. It peels right up. So that is a great thing to use for tools. All right, so let me go ahead and pour some resin into my mixing cup. And I'm just eyeballing here about enough to fill this heart and two of these. And you can add color to your resin by using some resin tints that look like this. But we are not going to use those things because we are going to color our resin with glitter. So this is ultra fine glitter. You can use chunky glitter. And you can just sort of add that to your Heart's Delight. So let me put a little shake of that in here. And give it a stir. So you could add more glitter at this point if you want it to be more opaque. Just be aware that the more glitter and things that you add to your resin, the longer you have to cure it because you're blocking that light. I'm going to show you here, give this a shake. I'm going to put of my red, I'm going to put 2 drops in there because I just want to kind of fill in the areas between that. This just shows you. I know I said that we weren't going to use those, but I changed my mind. You can see this beautiful red color. All right, so now we want to pour that into our mold because these shapes are very, very small. And you could pour it, you can kind of squeeze this and pour, but I think I'm just going to take it kind of drop by drop on this wood stick. And that helps you place it right. And you don't need to be super careful and super like I tend to be a little bit of a messy crafter, as you can see. And that's okay. This is very forgiving. And so you can see I'm filling it up all the way to the top. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit more so you can get in on the action. You can see that it's not perfect. I've gotten some in the middle, but what I'm doing now is I'm kind of poking at it. I just want to make sure that this resin has flowed to fill that cavity and that there aren't any bubbles in there. Okay, that's going to come out just fine. Let's fill these other two. And these two we're going to set aside for just a little bit, but I wanted to get them ready for when we make our cherry charms. Okay, same thing. Now you'll notice that these circle molds have this little tab in there, and that creates a hole in the cherry shape to allow you to hang it and attach it to something else. Just want to make sure I fill those up to the top. One thing I didn't mention is a paper towel. You want to keep that paper towel off to the side so you can kind of wipe that off. You don't get it all over your work surface. Now I have a little bit left in here. I'm going to move this off to the side because I don't want the UV light to even come close to that. And now I bring in my light. You see how it fits just perfectly under there. Hit the button. I'm going to move that off to the side a little bit. And we are going to cure this for probably 2 to 3 minutes. Now, if I had just put clear resin in there and nothing else, I might only need to cure it for a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. But because I put glitter and a dark tint, that is blocking the light. So I want to make sure that it is cured the whole way. So UV resin also cures in sunlight. Sunlight, that's the ultimate source of UV rays, and it cures beautifully in sunlight. So if you're crafting during the day and you're in a sunny area, put it on a sunny windowsill, 5-10 minutes, and you'll be good. I love to cure my items outside when it's not raining or cloudy. It will cure even on a slightly cloudy day, but it'll just take longer. All right, so that went for 1 minute. You saw the light turn off. Let's see what we have after a minute. So I'm just going to gently, that is way too close. So you can see it is no longer, even at 1 minute, it is no longer a liquid, but it's not cured all the way through and certainly not cured on the bottom. So I'm going to let that go for another minute and then I'm going to flip it over. I just want to make sure we get the bottom side to make sure that that's cured. So thank you guys for joining us live today. And I just want you to know, if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to use the comments, use the chat, and ask your question. I may see them, I may not. If I see them, I try to answer them live, but I don't always see them. So, but we have some folks from Blue Moon Studio, and they will be answering your questions live. So no question is too silly or too small to ask. So take advantage of your being on a live class, and you can ask the experts. All right, so that is going. And I want to show you, after I move this to the side, you can imagine that after you do this a whole bunch, you are going to be left with, okay, that went, I'm going to turn it over and do it for another minute. You are going to be left with all sorts of fun shapes. So a lot of these shapes that you're looking at here came from this mold. This is like an earring stud mold. And so it's got all these fun little shapes in it. And it is a stud mold because if you wanted to make stud earrings, all you need is a finding that looks like this. It's a flat pad like that. So if I wanted to make a pink star, or let's do a gold star. If I want to make a gold star earring, I just need this and I glue this to that. And you're going to say, what glue do I use? Well, the answer is you just use more UV resin. So let me just show you that. No, this isn't an earring class, but I wanted to show you how versatile the things that you're going to make are. So just a little dot of resin on there. I want to make sure I'm getting that under here. And we're going to put that under the light. And just that simple, you've made custom stud earrings. So this has been under for 3 minutes. Let me move these to the side. Let's see what we have. So it releases from the mold very easily. And you have a nice little heart. Now you can see on this side, see that little depression there? That means that I had a little air bubble trapped in there. So I needed to kind of move that resin around a little bit better. It would have filled that little bubble. Okay, let's see what these look like. So when you use a mold, it is just perfect every time and the same every time. And you tend to have, when it comes out of the mold, like a good side and a not so good side. The good side is the one that was down into the mold. So I would say this is the good side. This is the side that was up. And we already have a hole in this one. Okay, we're going to put these two things aside for when we do the cherries. And let me show you, we have a stud earring here. The possibilities are endless for making little stud earrings super simply. Okay. All right, so here is a bunch more. And these use all sorts of different glitters. So this uses more of a confetti glitter. And this one uses slightly more chunky. And now, how do we turn these into charms? Because we need to be able to connect them to a jump ring. With some of the shapes, it's easy. Like with our heart shape, it's super easy to connect it to a jump ring because it already is a loop. Let's get some jump rings out. Different sizes. All right, so with jump rings, you're going to want a plier like this is a flat nose plier. And the jump ring has a break in it, and I situate that up to the top. And I bring one toward me, one away from me, and open it so you open it like a coil. And so then I can just add this jump ring, and this jump ring is how I can attach it to my chain. We'll do the attaching later. See, that one is super easy. Now, this one, not so easy. Well, actually, it is very easy. I'll show you. But there's not a obvious way to attach this to something else. So we have options. Number one, you can drill into it. Use a little hand drill like this. This is with a 1.5 mm bit. And I can drill into it. I can drill into it perpendicular like this. I can drill into it from the side. That's a little tricky because this is not that thick. So I would only recommend that with thicker charms. So I can drill. That's my first option is drilling. But I don't love that option because this is a tiny little charm. And if I put a hole right here, it's just kind of breaking up the face of the charm. So let me show you another way. You can just kind of repurpose an eye pin. So these are eye pins. We are going to cut this. So that it is teeny tiny. And we are going to glue it to the back of this with some UV resin. Just a little dollop. And I'm going to pick this up with tweezers with my tool here. Actually, I'll pick it up on this side. Lay that down. And before we hit it with the light, we can just make it go exactly where we want it to go. And put that under the light. So just for funsies, I'm going to drill into it because I want to show you how the drill works. Move that off while that's cooking. Here is a butterfly charm. Like I said, we could try to drill into it. I'm going to try, but this is very, very thin. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to try to go right here. And the hand drill is really simple. You just twist. And I got a little bit off track there. Very hard to keep it in the center. But let's keep going. Get all that dust out of there. So once you've drilled it, if you drill it in through the side, you're going to need something that looks like this to be able to connect that. And I'll give you two guesses on what glue we're going to use. Some UV resin. Pick up a little bit of that, place this into the hole that we made. And I'm going to set that under the light. So here is our option one. Clean up a little bit here. Actually, I should call this option one. If you already have a hole to thread something through, then that's the easiest way. I think the second easiest way is just adding something to the back, and a cut eye pin will work great for that. The third way is what we have cooking here under the light, which is use a drill to drill through the side, and then put, and those little things are called screw eyes. And finally, you want to drill through the front. I'll show you what that looks like. Now, if you have an electric drill, like a Dremel drill, this will go way fast for you. If not, well, just have to use it the old-fashioned way. Takes a little bit to get through. I'm not going to go all the way through. I think you guys can envision what I'm talking about here. You can see the size of what that hole would be, kind of where it would be placed. And then you have a space to put a jump ring. All right, so 4 different methods of taking what you've created from a mold and turning it into a charm. So you can see how much this cured just from sitting next to that light. Let's scooch this off to the side and do a little cleanup. Okay, you guys with me? All right. All right, so moving on to our special charms. So we want to make we'll do the bubblegum charm first. So I've already made this earlier. This is just some real candy sprinkles. These are real candy sprinkles in clear resin in a circle shape. Here you go. And we want also a square shape. And I'm also going to use red for that because the bottom of a bubblegum machine, those are always red, right? And I have this, so I want to use it. Let's see, which one should we use? So we have 2 different squares here. Notice these all come in pairs because this was a stud earring mold. This square has sort of this, is that called a beveled? A beveled bottom with like kind of like a pyramid shape, and this just has a flat bottom. Let's try the beveled one. Now, if you want to use dark colors, we're talking like fully opaque black or very opaque whites, you can, but I highly recommend curing in stages. So I want to demonstrate that for you here. So I did not fill this whole thing up. I put a layer. You can cure in layers. So I'm going to cure that layer. Then I'm just going to add clear resin to the back of it. And that way I know for sure if I'm curing in layers that the resin inside is cured, because what can happen is if you go ham on the tints and you want to make something that is like jet black, what can happen is the outside of the shape can cure, but then the inside is still liquid. And we don't want that to happen. And the way that you avoid that is curing in layers. So I'm just going to let this go for 1 minute here. There's our red. And then I'm going to fill the back with clear. Okay, that went for a minute, straight from the bottle into the mold. And I'm kind of watching it fill the whole mold. But you can encourage it to get to the corners. Back under. All right, so while this is going, I want to show you, I think you guys have kind of the basics of working with a mold. I want to show you the next level of what you can do. So we're going to do a little bit of a show and tell here. So this was a project we did for a back to school class. We made a little necklace for teachers. And this was quite large. It's a large disc, and you can see we put paper clips and little pins in there. And so the options are endless with what you can put inside resin. So far, you've seen me do glitter, but you're not limited to glitter. Anything that is plastic, metal, clay, glass, wood, sand, shell, paper, fabric, pretty much any material that you can think of can go down inside the resin. Here's an example of another project we did in that class. This we turned into a little brooch by adding that. You can see where we added the UV resin to stick that pin down. And that, I heart my teacher, that is just a sticker. So Michael's has amazing stickers in the sticker aisle, and you can just put that down inside the mold and then fill the rest with resin. And we did add some little other things in there, but you can see how easy it is. And I'll show you another example. This is simple but very elegant gold flakes, 2-part earring. Connect them two things together. Super simple. I want to find a piece of dried flowers. Here we go. So dried flowers, absolutely gorgeous with UV resin. So here we use dried flowers, created the bottom of an earring. The top of this earring was actually made from polymer clay. You can see how you can mix materials and make some really, really beautiful things. Okay, so that's gone for a couple minutes. Let's pop her out. And that's what we have. See what I mean by beveled? I'm not sure if beveled is the right, but here's from the side. It's not like a pyramid, it's just got a little angle on it. I thought that looked like a gumball machine. So these two things are going to go together, and we are going to add a rhinestone to be like, I guess, where you get your bubble gum from. Yes, like a gemstone. Okay, so to connect these things, actually we need to make a few connection points. We need something at the top to be able to hang this, and we need something at the bottom to connect these two pieces together. So bringing out the trusty drill here. So I'm just taking a look. I don't think this one is a candidate to drill in this way. It's just too thin. So I'm going to make let's see, I'm going to make one drill hole here. I know I want to do that to connect these. So let's start with that. So lining this up, I want to be about, oh gosh, less than 1/8 of an inch, more than 1/16 of an inch. What measurement is that? 1/10 of an inch? from the edge. Where'd that go? I got that started. Hold on. Yeah. And it's times like these that I wish that I had a an electric drill. That would make our lives super easy because you could just zoop. But it takes less than a minute. Riveting stuff here, folks. I know. But stay with me. And I'll use this downtime to promote our classes. So we teach jewelry making classes on michaels.com every Monday. Well, most Mondays, 3 Mondays a month. So make sure you always check out the classes and events page. We're always doing some fun stuff. I don't know why this is taking longer than normal. I think maybe after all these years, I may have dulled my bit because I've been using the same hand drill for like 5 years now. And maybe I need to sharpen it. I don't know if sharpening these things is like possible, but it is not super sharp. And I don't want to take more time to do that. I feel like I'm almost there. So, anyways, back to our classes. We teach jewelry making classes. Check out the classes and events page. You always want to look for jewelry making. In fact, when I'm looking for our own classes, I just filter for jewelry making. You can usually find them. Oh, come on, you. We're almost there. Okay. What the heck? Maybe you ran into a dot. Yeah, Lucy, I think so because this, I mean, I'm usually less than 10 seconds I can get through a piece like this. So this is like driving me nuts here. But I want to show you how to connect it. So talk amongst yourselves. Gosh, yeah, it's like not wanting to get through. The bad news is that I also have to drill through this. Oh, look at that. I'm already through that one. So yeah, I don't know. Those are like some type of very strong candy sprinkles in there, but they like do not want to let that drill through. Let's clean off the area here. Yeah, this one went through so easily. And that's normally how it works for me. See, that is all the way through. We'll give it another little few twists. If I can't get it, I'll move on, guys. We are right there. Ah, there we go. Oh man, I'm sweating over here. Okay, so now we have a connection point that's going to go through each one. Let's connect them. We want to use a large jump ring for this. So open that up. And then you just want to get both of them on the same jump ring. If you can. Sometimes things are fighting you. Let's open it up a little bit more. There it goes. And we'll close the jump ring. And now they are connected. It's Monday. Thank you, Lucy. You have my back. I'm having the Mondayest of Mondays. All right, so we are going to add this little rhinestone with some UV resin on the front here. That's just a little bit of extra pizzazz. Easiest way to add rhinestones is to put a drop of resin and then use your wood stick to dab into that drop. That way you can pick it up very easily. And before it starts to move, get that light in there. Ooh, okay. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're good. All right, so we are just adding that little dot. That'll take only a minute. And we made our cherry pieces earlier, and those already have a hole through them for us to connect them. We are going to need some eye pins and some jump rings. And some little tiny plastic leaves. And in fact, let me get some more jump rings. And I'll show you example again. You can see where we're headed. So here's our example. So we actually need a jump ring to go through each of the cherries, and then two more jump rings, one to kind of create the charm and one to hang the charm. So if you have a big box of jump rings like this is super helpful because there are multiple sizes. And there we go. So let's add our jump rings to the cherries themselves. And you may need two pairs of pliers to be able to close this since it gets kind of small. Okay. Now we need to turn this little eye pin into a cherry stem. And so to do that, see, normally we would fill this thing up with beads and create another loop on the other end. But in this case, we don't need any beads. We're just creating a loop here. And to do that, you need a special plier. This is a round nose plier. You want to decide how long your cherry stems are. I'm going to go about that long, about 3/4 of an inch. So wherever you want that to be, we are just going to make a 90-degree bend. And then using your clippers, you want to clip off the end here. From where the bend starts, you only need about 3/8 of an inch. So that you're left with this. And now you take your round nose pliers, you put it at the very end, twist back. You'll get a candy cane and then reset your pliers, keep twisting, and you will get a loop. So now we have a loop on this side and this side. And I created these loops perpendicular to one another. Let me do it again. So first we go 90 degrees, then we trim. Then we grab this. And turn it into a loop. All right, let's connect everything together. So on one end, we have this loop that we're going to open. We're going to add one cherry onto each stem, close it up. Same thing. Hang on a sec, guys. This like shrapnel here is driving me bonkers. This needs to go away. Okay. You are super zoomed in, so you'll be able to see everything. Now with one jump ring, we are going to attach both of these together and our two leaf charms. So I'm going to start with these. I'm going to put one leaf charm on each side of this jump ring to kind of separate them. And before I close that, I'm going to add one jump ring. And there are our cherries. Oh, off camera. There are our cherries. Get that set right. Super cute, super easy to do if you just have a little bit of sort of basic jewelry construction. All right, I do not want to drill through that again, so we are going to do the method of using the top of an eye pin and a little dab of UV resin. And I am just going to hold this, I think, because this wants to turn on me. Maybe not. I'm just going to keep, oh, no. I had a little bit of resin on that wood stick and it grabbed right away. See that that light was only on for what, 5 seconds? And it grabbed. Okay. Okay, one more special charm to go, and then we're going to add it all together. I'm going to go into turbo mode here because I really want to get this done. So we are going to make an ice cream cone, and we do not have an ice cream cone mold. So you can get super creative though. What we do have is an alphabet mold and a letter O and a letter V. When put together, well, we could make those into an ice cream cone. But we have to fill in the center of that letter V and to turn it into like a triangle. So to do that, we need to place that on this item, which is some resin tape. And I am just going to drop by drop. I have the same resin that I used. Drop by drop, I'm going to fill in the center of that and bring the light in. Actually, I'm going to do both on one. You fill in the center of the O as well. The O is a little easier. And I'm kind of, I don't know, overfilling it a little bit because I want it to be domed on top. All right, and here is our tiny little bubblegum charm. Just showing, be creative with the shapes that you already have and combine them. And I can see that I overfilled this a little bit, but I think that's going to work in our favor because it's going to look like melted ice cream. I'm going to add one more drop to the V. We're just doing this drop by drop. And maybe while that's going, I can do a little more show and tell. Here's another great example of combining molds. So here we took that off. Here we took a disc and then used our alphabet mold for the letter G and then combined the two molded pieces together. You can kind of see that it has a layer of UV resin on top. But those are two molded pieces put together. Do one more drop. And let me find some other cool stuff to show you. We had such amazing Christmas classes this year. I just loved the things that we made. We made ornaments. Here's an ornament. we made for New Year's Eve. This is a little more of an intermediate class here, but if you want to check out our New Year's Eve class, everything's recorded. It's up on YouTube. We made champagne bottles and champagne flutes out of resin. Super cute. We did some awesome Halloween classes this year too. We love the seasonal stuff. We made these gory eyeballs. Love those. And we use that same leather mold to spell out the word boo. Boo. Connected those together. Okay, so that has gone for a few minutes. And so now we need to decorate our ice cream. I'm going to attempt to add another little accidental on purpose spill of ice cream on this side. So that looks like melted ice cream. And then we are going to add some sprinkles. So these sprinkles, I'll show you them in action. Do I have them? No. Oh, yes, I do. We made a whole bangle bracelet from these same sprinkles. Because bangle bracelets are possible. We also can use seed beads inside of a bangle bracelet. So if you love the look of seed bead jewelry but have no patience like me, this is how you could achieve it. Let's open up our sprinkles. A little drop of resin here. And dipping in, I'm just going to kind of paint that on top here because we need to attach our sprinkles. And you can take your time placing those exactly where you want them to go. Okay, and so I'm not going to demonstrate this part, but I think you can see we need to drill through here, connect them with a jump ring, and I'll show you our example. This was done in different colors, but here's our example, very simply connected with a jump ring. And this was more of the traditional kind of ice cream colors. And then the last thing I want to show you is how to connect these things all together. So depending on the chain you use, like this is a paper clip chain. So depending on the chain that you use, see how the links are perpendicular to one another? So in this case, you probably only want to add charms on every other link. So let's get the charms that we did earlier. So I can show you an example. So my heart, I'm going to add to this link here, skip one. That gives space for the charm to breathe too. We're going to add that here. And we're going to add this one here. So skipping one to have space for the charms, but also because you want all of your charms to lay nicely, and they won't lay nicely if you're willy-nilly adding it to links that are perpendicular to one another. So I'm going to connect these up and here we go. I'm just getting out some jump rings. I'm going to connect this up and we can start to wrap it up here. And just like we did before, you find the break in the jump ring, thread it through, and before you close it, add it on to your chain. Close it. All right, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you're not afraid of that hand drill. It usually is so easy, but it gave me a little bit of problems today. So thank you guys for your patience and thank you for lasting until the end of the class. You guys are always so awesome. And I hope to see you back here on Mondays, same time. So do check out the classes and events page on michaels.com. And there you go. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Lucy. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.